Alright, hi guys, my name is Clinton. Alright, before we start the video, I just want to explain to you a little bit more about what we were doing for you. So basically, we have set up an initiative called Technique Matters, and this is the first video that we are sharing it with you guys. And even though this is not the best, because we always honestly still feel that technique analysis and assessment should be done face to face, like a one-to-one coaching kind of thing, but because of this situation right now, the COVID-19, a lot of us don't have the chance to train, and obviously my job as a coach has been stopped for a moment. But I do not want the learning to stop for you guys, especially because even though we cannot train, we can still improve and learn more and improve our skills and also the knowledge on powerlifting, which is why we create a close to perfection. I mean, we are still working on it, but we set up a virtual technique analysis and assessment. We did whatever we could as much as possible to try and help you, the viewers, understand a little bit more about what we are doing. All right, so please enjoy the video, and then I'll see you again.
Okay, so welcome guys. Welcome to the Technique Matters Squat Technical Analysis with Ella. So today we have Ella from, where are you from? Can you just self-introduce yourself a little bit, Ella?
Yeah, totally. I live in Vancouver. I'm in the Surrey area. I'm from the Philippines. Moved here a long time ago. So yeah. And I'm a trainer and I'm Uplift Fitness. I don't know, it's like a smaller studio in Burnaby. Shout out Uplift. But yeah.
How do you get to know us?
I actually found you through somebody that that goes to my gym. I don't know if you guys know him, but forget his name. Mikey?
How could you forget? How could you forget him?
Yeah, my bad. It's been a blurry week for me. But yeah, no, I saw the giveaway on his story, and then I put it on my story. Obviously, I entered the giveaway, and he just sent me another message telling me about you guys. So.
All right, cool. So basically, it's safe to say that all three of us are like the powerhouses in Asia. So as you know, like in North America, they have like the TSA, the strength guys, and the rest. But in Asia, we are trying to build up to that repetition that because we are trying to build up the powerlifting community for Asians and in Asia as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why we set up this initiative, because we want to help people understand the sport a little bit better. All right, so Adam has some questions for you.
Yeah.
So, Ella, how long have you been lifting for?
I've been lifting for about 6 years now.
6 years.
So, yeah.
So did you start in powerlifting, or did you start in a different sport, or how did you get started?
I would definitely say like I was more into like bodybuilding training when I first started. I think that's what most people get into at first. And then like over the years, I kind of just really got into lifting heavy weights, and then I kind of discovered powerlifting. So that's how I got into it, and knew some friends who already did it, worked with some people who were powerlifters, so that really pushed me into like the powerlifting community. But yeah.
Great. How long have you been competing for?
I actually haven't competed. I was going to compete. Our gym, Iron Throne, the owner Jordan, like he was talking about hosting me. He inquired with the BCPA, so it would have been my first meet sometime like later this year. But looks like that's probably not going to happen. So
yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So the goal is getting to your first meet right now.
Yeah,
so
basically.
Really right, cool.
All right, so even though we are not sure if the competition is happening, but I think it's a good time for us now to continue to improve on our skills and knowledge about the powerlifting itself.
Yeah, for sure.
So as of today, we are gonna help you learn more and understand more about the squat technique. Now we have watched your videos, and we have pretty much seen what is the good what are the things that you're good at, and what are the things that we can improve on. So as we go along, you'll get to understand them. Okay, so our technical analysis is done this way so that we can provide higher amounts of interaction and direct feedback from each other.
Right.
Okay, so let's move on. All right. Okay. Okay. So basically, this is the breakdown of how it's gonna go. Okay. On the first part, it's more about knowledge sharing, so that we can help you understand more about the squat's position and movement. We also want to learn a little bit more about what is your understanding and knowledge about certain parts of the lifts and of the squat itself. And then after that, we will review to you what is the underlying problem, what is the causes, and what can we do to help you. All right.
Right.
And then the part 2 will show you and everyone who is watching this the video, the analysis and reference based on the video, what we can do to improve the lift itself, and we'll also provide you with references that can help you. And lastly, JJ is going to share with you some program recommendations to help you improve on the lift. So we clear at this point? All right, cool. So let's move. All right. So for us, we like to segment our positioning of the squat into 3 different segments. You can see, right, Ella?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Right. So there's upper, middle, and lower. So basically, the lower part is from your hip to the knees, to the ankles, and the foot, right?
Yeah.
On the middle is basically the core section, which is the ribs and the back. We can talk about the core, the ribs, the back. And then lastly, the upper is the head positioning, shoulder positioning, elbow, and back positioning. Okay. For your case, we want to put a lot more focus on the middle lower, specifically the middle part, because we think that this is the one that is hindering your progress. And if we target it today and help you fix it over the weeks, your lift is definitely gonna get much better.
Cool. Sounds good.
Can you still train in Vancouver?
No, I don't know if you can see, but I have like
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's really sketchy though. It's not like a real combo rack. I bought it's a bench rack I bought off of somebody for like around $100, and like I just take the bench attachment off and squat with it. It's probably not the safest, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do right now, I guess. So.
And you have a wooden flooring, is that it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so it's risky, but it's lightweight for right now, I guess. So.
Okay, cool. Well, it's pretty cool that you have a squat rack right behind you, so maybe we can do something about it. Do a little bit of hands-on, see if you can understand what we mean. All right. So today we want to focus on the middle section, which is the core section, right? So firstly, I would like you to share with me what do you understand about core bracing?
Core bracing?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Well, I know that we have to activate specifically our obliques for the squat for stability. I do minimum like 10-15 minutes of like core prep when I squat. But I think for the most part, like I don't really feel my core working when I squat, honestly. Like, and I know there's an error with that. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm quite happy to hear that you know some of the facts about core bracing, especially the obliques for stability. And I mean, 10 minutes of core prep, JJ, what do you think? Is it a long time? Is it a lot of time into it?
I think it's okay, but do you do any other sort of prep on top of your core stuff, or is it just like 10 minutes for your whole warm up?
Oh, no. So for like, if I'm doing prep for squat, it probably takes like 20-ish to 25 minutes. Like that's just me doing like mobility as well as activation of like, I don't know, just my glutes and everything like compiled. And even though like I'll try to pack on as much prep as I can do, sometimes it feels like I'm still coming up short in my lifts. So that's kind of what's been frustrating. So yeah.
So if you had like, so what would be a typical sort of breakdown for your prep work? Like, okay, say you come to the gym, you get changed, and then like, you can like quickly run us through what you you do?
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'll roll first, obviously, and then I'll do some passive stretching. I'll do like um stretching with bands. I'll do mobility, and then I'll jump into rolling and then activation. So I'll start off with like um some like banded squats, as well as some banded lateral squats. I'll do some like fast um fast work as well, just to fire up my CNS. But I don't do that all the time. And then I work my way up, basically. So I'll start with like activation on my quads, hamstrings, calves, glutes, and then I'll go up to like my shoulder blades and my traps. So I'll do like hanging scap raises and do band pull aparts, just to make sure that part is active as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. That's good information. So you kind of do it by sort of like a body part.
Yeah.
You go through your body parts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. That makes sense. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Cool. So that's good to hear. But let's just continue running through, and then we'll go into the sort of like the programming recommendations and like the prep at the end, so that we can just to help us keep time. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So back to me. Today, it is good that you understand that core bracing includes activation of the obliques for stability. But we can tell you and help you understand why you cannot actually feel the core. All right. So as you can see, right in the middle section, the purpose of the core bracing is to create stability. So stability is the main concern and create tension throughout the whole body. So what we are actually looking at is a neutral back, right? So that we can allow the weights to be stacked nicely from the top, which is at the back of your shoulders, all the way to the bottom.
Right.
Okay. So the problem lies is when you are setting up into the position in the squat. Later we'll review the videos. It seems like your chest is a little bit more too elevated in an extension position. So even so, in this position where you're extended, let me just show you the picture.
Yeah.
Sorry. So like this picture, this is from the back.
Yeah.
So I believe this is how it looks like from the back, because we don't have any videos from the back. But from the front, we can see that your chest is actually facing upwards or forward. So when it's facing upwards or forwards, it creates a curve over right here. So this means that your obliques are being stretched out, and there's no way for you to create that tension in the obliques to create that stability.
Okay.
Okay. So as you can see, so this is what we're talking about. When we brace, right, we are trying to create the tension on these three parts. So in order to get into these three parts, you want to make sure that your body, if you see from the center picture, your back is pretty much straight and neutral, in line with the pelvis. Okay.
Right.
All right. So Adam is going to explain to you this diagram. What is it? What does it mean by open scissors and closed scissors and a more compact and compact body?
Cool.
So from what we see is that you initially, when you set up, we noticed that your rack is too high and you're like kind of tiptoeing out of the rack. So initially in the start position, you're in the hyperextension, which is the open scissors, right? So
that makes sense.
This one.
You notice that you get a lot of pressure in your lower back?
Yeah.
At all? Yeah. So all the load and stress will transfer to the lower back. Whereas, if you're a closed scissors, your back will be a bit more rounded. So you see around the last picture, the last diagram there.
Right.
More of a closed scissors and a rounded back, rounded a thoracic spine. So optimally, we want to get, in the first picture, we want to get rib cage and pelvis neutral. So what you want to think of is like your pelvis is like a jug of water and you don't want to spill it. So you want to keep it neutral.
Right.
And the best bet is to initially start the movement in that right position. So when you set up the rack, you want to have it at the correct height, and then you set up your brace in the neutral position, whereas in the first diagram, and then once you start in the right position, then it's easier to get back in that position. But if you start in the wrong, it's hard to get into that good position. So initially the movement starts from when you take the bar out of the rack instead of walking out and getting set up. So
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to put yourself in the best position as possible before unracking the bar. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Good to know.
Yeah, so which means the bottom line is today what we have underlined the problem for you, which is you have the understanding of how to brace your core, but you're unsure of how do we set up nicely so that we can enable ourselves to engage the necessary parts of the muscle in the core section and midsection area to create a more high quality squat. So with your position now, with the chest elevated position, it is hard to power through off the hole because as you can see from video, and I believe you can feel it, is that on the way up, during the descent it's fine, but on the way up you'll feel a little bit of stall. There's a bit of lag. So when there's a lag, right, what happens is if you start like that, right, so with your back curve, it goes down, and then when you come up, the gravity forces against it and the weight will cause you to arch even more. So that's why you feel the lower back pain or achiness, and your core couldn't contract at all because you're in an extended position. That's why it lags for a bit. And then
that makes sense.
Yeah, and at that point of time, it is very hard to feel the rest of the muscles as well because everything is misaligned. So at that point of time when you're grinding, right, you have no idea what you're doing, right? You just want to, let me get this weight up. Okay?
Yeah.
Which is why we feel that this is the biggest problem, because if we get a more neutral position, you can allow your lower body to naturally work on its own, because you have a bodybuilding background. We don't need to tell you to activate the quads, and you know how to activate the quads in the squat. All right.
Yeah.
But now I believe, and we believe that if you were to fix this issue, your squat is going to be much better. Okay.
Right.
So one simple cue we can guide you along with this is try to first make it, try to improve your setup, which we will teach you how to do it. I will show you a video on the guidance of how to do it. And after that, we need to try and teach you how to help you understand that in a low bar squat, especially, you want your chest to be slightly pointing downwards.
Okay.
Okay, so when you set up, you want to go 45-degree in, not up, so down.
Right.
Okay. So at all times, best is during the setup, before you even get under the bar, you want your back to be neutral and you stay it that way.
Yeah.
All right. So as of now, you have a better understanding of what's the problem, right? So shall we move on to the videos?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, let's take a look at your first video. Okay. All right. Wait, this is not your first video. We want to see your setup, right? Okay. Okay, so as you can see, right, when you're doing your setup, your chest is like elevated. And take a look at this. You're lifting off with staggered foot. See, one foot behind another.
Right.
So think about it. Think about in this position where your foot is one forward, one back. How do I make sure that the plank you're in can help to control the core? It's very hard, right? It's basically like running and trying to brace as hard as possible is impossible.
Not possible, yeah.
Yeah, whereas if you are standing side by side to each other, you can get into a solid position. All right, so one thing to definitely improve on, like what Adam said, is to bring the rack height down a bit. Take it slow during the setup. I'm not sure if this video is fast forward, but take it slow during the setup, because that is the most important thing to help your core. So in this position, you want to try and keep your chest down already.
Down, okay.
Put 2 feet. Sorry, JJ?
Yeah, so one thing you can try with the rack height, just as a general guideline, is if you stand beside the rack, like if you just stand beside the rack, the bar where it starts should be around maybe around where your armpit is.
Okay.
So when you get under it, right, you can get this position down, and then you can climb it, and then you can sand it when you stand it up, think about doing like a standing, like a plank, but you're just upright. And then
Right.
you put your hips under, and then you can just stand up. Rather than having to sort of guess where the rack height is, you can just you can roughly around armpit height would be good if you're doing a low bar.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Armpit, clavicle area.
Yeah.
Also, just a good standard for like feet position as well. Just set a good starting point is to have your feet directly under your hips instead
Right.
of that second position.
Yeah.
Right.
So both feet side by side in a standing position, just in line with your hips.
Directly
That's
under
the
the
best.
hips.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So now, basically, you want to try and set up in a 2 feet position like this. If you can
Right.
actually stand up like that, it should be better. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So at the starting position, I really like how your your wrist position, your grip and your elbows are. It shows that you have quite a good mobility on your shoulders, so that you can bring the hand as close as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So this is to help you establish a very tight upper back, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
find that it helps me a lot more than when my hands are further.
Yeah,
I
of
definitely feel
course.
more stable with my
For
cavity.
sure, for sure. But one thing I understand about this is that a lot of people assume that we want a very tight upper back. So which comes to the next point, which is the elbow positioning. Where we elevate our elbows very high, it will
Mm-hmm.
cause this effect. Once again, it helps to promote hyperextension. Okay,
Oh.
right. So
Mm-hmm.
what we want is you can get your grip close, right? But you always angle your elbows from bottoms to up, not up to, sorry, up to down, not down to up. So
Right.
you see, when you set up, right,
Mm-hmm.
you want to try and keep your elbows under so that you can maintain in this position.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So how do I gauge how much elbow flare I need to be? Is just flare until you can feel tension on the upper back. We don't want to have a full squeeze, because the full squeeze only helps to create the shelf,
Right.
but it does not help to facilitate in a good neutral back position. So this is one thing to note lah.
Okay. Good to know
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay,
Good
cool.
cues.
All right, so let's move on. See, so as you are squatting, right, when you brace, you like to breathe into the chest. So even though you know that, okay, I need to brace into the obliques and the side, you continue to brace into the chest, and then you
Yeah.
go down. Yeah. So you see the leg over there, that's where the hyperextension occurs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's continue the video. Yep. So I really like, for now, I really like your feet positioning right now, because you are just outside the hip so that you can get yourself in. But it's very hard to see that, it's very hard for you to get the depth in. Do you feel so as well?
The depth,
Mhm.
not necessarily. I think I'm just not used to. I think when I started training with with the possibility of competing,
Mhm.
I just really hammered it in to go deeper than I usually do, and like I feel like I'm yeah. I guess I do have a little bit of an issue,
Yeah.
but. Mm-hmm.
But don't worry about it, because the depth issue is caused because when you're in a hyperextended position, it's very hard to get the free range of motion to get down at the point that where you want. If you are able to get your pelvis neutral and all stacked together, you should be able to get to anywhere you want, even in an ATG squat.
Right, that makes sense.
Right. Okay. So let me show you once again this picture. So this picture is basically where you try to hyperextend the lower back and your chest goes up, but in fact, basically what you want to be is in this position. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I kind of, it's kind of like the hips is just on top of the feet, all right, and your back is neutral. So if you are someone who likes to hyperextend a lot, you may need to posterior tilt your hips a little bit to get the hips.
Mm.
So you understand what's posterior tilt, right? Meaning,
Yeah, posterior pelvic tilt. Yeah.
yeah, trying to tuck
Yeah, that's the
it down
chest. Yeah.
under a little bit, all right, and then keep your chest angled downwards. So this is where the neutral back comes in.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So now I'm gonna show you a video.
Actually,
Yes.
just wanting to say, like it's quite a lot of information at the moment. But don't worry, we will write it down for you and then send you. Well,
Yeah, basically at the end of the day, right, we'll provide you with a deliverable, which is a report on what we have mentioned today.
Right.
So just for you, right, you don't need to come back and watch the video once again, because we have a full report on how you should be doing it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so right now this is a video of basically me trying to set up inner squat. Okay, so first I get my grip. I have the same grip as you, as close as possible. So I keep my back neutral throughout, and I try to set it up. So the upper back shelving, right, is just enough to keep the bar in place.
Right.
So as you can see, I keep my feet in a standing position, hips, foot just under the hips, and then I just stand, and then I move back. Get my stance, and then I start my brace, and I try to get the back as neutral as possible throughout the whole motion.
Right.
Okay, so it's much easier for you to maintain this position, this neutral back position and core brace position when you set up correctly. Okay, understand?
Yeah.
So one of the key takeaways for you, right, is definitely two things. Maintaining a more posterior hip so that you can maintain a neutral back, and also angle your chest a little bit down when you set up. And go slow. Definitely go slow. Don't rush things first.
Okay.
Okay.
There's one thing when you address mobility. I guess it translates into my mobility in terms of depth, but I feel like I lose tension once I get to the bottom of the squat. Basically, that's kind of how and then I feel like it's not so much that I can't go any lower, it's that I feel unstable going any lower, if that makes sense.
Adam, anything to comment on this?
Yeah, it's hard to maintain that good bracing if you're in a not an optimal position when you hit the hole.
Right.
Yeah, so you'll kind of lose tension and drop in. But like we'll go through the movements, but we'll suggest a supplement in towards the end. But yeah, there is some good variations to help that as well, to help teach you that to get stronger in that range of motion and build confidence.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the bottom line is actually if you are able to master the correct technique of core bracing and keeping your back neutral, at the bottom of the squat, you should be able to feel even more powerful as before. Because right now, the way you're squatting, right, you're definitely bound to lose tension at the bottom, because once at the bottom, your back hyperextends, the power will start to leak from the lower back area, because you're not holding up that power. So that's where all the power leak, and then there's a lag in coming up, which is why you are afraid to go back down, because if you go any lower, your lower back will round and then go back to hyperextension itself. So when you go any deeper, when the lower back starts to round, that's where you feel that, oh shit, this lift is I'm not gonna get a weight up, because you are in a very, 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 very weak position.
Right.
All right, so pretty much you get it now, right? Adam, yes?
Yeah. I personally feel like if when it's done right and you learn that positioning, for me, it feels like for me when you in that bottom position, it kind of feels like a leg press.
Yes.
So I think I come down, I hit the hole, and then I'm like, I think, legs, and come out of the hole like a leg press, and maintaining that torso positioning. Because your brace should feel solid in the hole.
Yes.
You should feel strong in the bottom of the squat. And for me, it feels like my brace just gets. I can feel my brace really pushing against the belt at the bottom of the squat. So I think if you can feel something similar, I think you're heading on the right track.
Okay, so the next part of this, right, of our technical analysis is to help you establish some exercises and re-establish the cues so that it can help you in the improvement on the squat. So right now you have your home gym, right? I'm pretty sure we won't be working with super heavy weights right now because we want to get the right movement pattern in. So I think it's a good time for you to start to understand and practice with it so that you can get better when you finally get a gym to train and you can finally do heavier weights with someone spotting you. So right now we are moving on to the last part, which is the report. So this is the report that JJ has been updating. This is a personal report.
Perfect.
Yep. When we'll be sending it to you. And at the end of the day, right, we're gonna try and implement exercise for you. And one of the things that we will do for you is in a few weeks' time, probably about 6 weeks, we'll check back with you again to see if there are any improvements to be made. Okay.
Cool.
All right, Gigi, take it away.
So, okay, with the report, right? So based on what you've said to us, I think one of the big things that we will want to, I mean, I'm just curious. Do you think that your pre-warm up is a bit too long or anything?
For as much as I was lifting and like how little progress I got, I felt like it was long.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
We
so
find
one
that
of,
too.
one of the things that you did talk about with your sort of like pre-warm up or your warm up is that you do this sort of like body part split and you try to feel out the different muscles, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
So yeah, that's a good thing. But I think one of the issues with an approach like that is we don't think about there isn't an integrative approach to it. So yes, we can feel the muscle like in isolation, right? We can feel glutes, we can feel hamstrings, we can feel calves and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
once you get off the floor, like say you do a glute bridge, right? You get off the floor and suddenly you don't have that reference of how to feel it again. So think about the floor and your back and all that. The floor being like a sort of like a training wheel for you to feel your glutes. But what we want in that position is to be able to feel it while you're standing up.
Right.
So one of the things that I would say that yes, we want to learn how to feel those muscles first, but then try to integrate them together. So one of the exercises that I think would be good for you is, especially since you talk about when you hit the hole, you kind of lose tension.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it this way. It's like one of the exercises I would suggest is actually doing like starting your movement prep and your core prep with something like a dead bug.
Yeah.
Or like yeah. So once you learn to get that that parallel position, the rib cage and the pelvis, and then you move your legs. So if you think about it, if you're standing up, that's what you're essentially doing. You're bracing, and then you're moving your legs into flexion and extension, right? So that's one of the exercises that I would suggest you start with. And in that position, you want to really feel your six-pack muscle as well as your obliques to try and maintain that position. So something that you can do is instead of just doing like a set of 20, do just like 5 really slow like tempo dead bugs.
Okay.
So like you really feel yourself holding that position, and we want to keep the goal. So we want to get you under the bar as quickly as possible so that you don't waste any time and like yeah, and you can just go into training as soon as you can feel it. So with your warm-ups, we want quality rather than quantity. We don't want you doing like 3 by 20 and like a full warm-up workout. We want a quick one, like okay, I can feel my obliques, I can feel my legs and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll warm up. So one of the things is definitely dead bugs. So the way that we will want you to do is to make sure that you keep the rib cage and pelvis stacked nicely on top of each other.
Right.
Yeah, so that's something that you can do in your warm up, and you will find that if you can maintain that rib cage and pelvis relationship, you'll just be able to drop into the hole quite easily without worrying about depth.
Cool.
Yeah, and yeah, so that's one exercise. Another one you can do is
Are you in gym?
another one you can do is called a bear plank. So basically you do a plank, but you do it with your hips flipped. So if you think about it, your knees and your hips are bent at 90 degrees.
Okay.
So so it kind of mimics holding that rib cage and pelvis position at the
Right.
bottom of a squat, right? Because you're at 90 degrees. Your hips are flexed at 90 degrees, and then you learn that position without a bar on your back, and then learn to hold that position. And then once you go under the bar, you try to recreate that position as well.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the other exercises you can do. Adam, do you wanna talk about what she can do within her programming to help her with
Yes.
like with the main lifts?
Yeah. Okay. So with some considerations, I don't know if you're doing your own program or you've got a coach, but some recommendations to maybe add in is it's slowing down the movement and getting used to having that bracing, getting used to the bracing throughout the movement, and then getting comfortable at the bottom position as well. So I'm thinking maybe slowing down the movement 3 seconds on the way down, and then spend an extended period of time in the hole. So like maybe 2 seconds, and then that'll just help build confidence with the movement and also teach you that movement pattern.
Right.
So you can maybe consider that. Also, another good one as well is a 303 tempo squat, but the first recommendation is the 320.
Okay.
But maybe you could warm up with some 303 as well, and you can maybe feel that 3 seconds down and 3 seconds up, and then just trying to feel that position and then take note of what your body's doing, and then you can fix it up with internal cues while you're doing each rep. You're like, okay, that kind of felt off. What I'm going to do? Oh yeah, pelvis wasn't right. Fix the pelvis. Then try again. Okay, that felt better. All right, and then it'll teach you internally how to implement those cues as well. So yeah, at a programming standpoint, I suggest to have implement these movements with your competition movement as well.
Okay.
Yep.
So maybe on a secondary day you can do it like really light, like 60% for triples and stuff. And the intention of the exercise would be to maintain that to maintain good positioning. So we're not trying to go super heavy. We're going to go as heavy as it challenges you to hold that position.
Right.
Yeah. So at an RPE point, maybe around a 7 and an 8 RPE. Don't want to get too challenging, but you want to have a bit of weight so you can have a good reference point. The good thing about warming up with the 303 tempo, it's kind of teaches you how to stay in the right position, because if you're in an incorrect position with coming out of the hole doing 3 seconds, it's very uncomfortable. So you'll automatically put yourself in a good position. And also a good idea as well is filming your sets from the side and paying attention to your bar path as well, and seeing where the bar travels. So for you, in your case, it looks like you squatting flat. So aim to get the bar to midfoot, so around the top of the arch of your foot.
Right.
So that's a good point to practice as well. So especially film your 303 tempos from the side and pay attention to what your body does. So you want to think of your hip direction and your torso direction going down. So your torso wants to follow that direction, going down, and then maintain that position coming up and then straightening out in the squat. So yeah.
Yeah, remember, don't try to keep your squat as upright as possible. This is not what we are actually looking at. Everyone's torso angle, meaning how much they lean, is different based on your body leverages. So ideally in a squat, we want to maintain that lean throughout the whole motion. Yeah, just visualize it like a leg press. Obviously, when we lie down on a leg press, we are forced to keep our back as neutral as possible, which is why we can feel the full activation of our quads.
Right.
Yeah.
So just now, Sorry.
You keep going, so man.
Okay, so basically what we want to do is to try and recreate that movement. So recreate that that squat by visualizing that your back is as neutral as possible. Always maintain that lean until towards the end of the lift.
Right.
Okay.
So your torso wants to follow your hip direction. Okay, so if you think of a clock, right, and your hips shoot, at 8 o'clock typically for a low bar squat, then um, your torso direction wants to go the opposite side to the clock. So it wants to follow that angle all the way down and then back up. So typically you want the hips and torso raising evenly out of the hole.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, this is one of
Makes
the
sense?
this is one of the misconceptions that people thought it will be, because in a squat always, like especially low bar, people will start to say that, okay, sit back in a squat, but actually what we are trying to do is not to sit back all the way until the weight shift to the heels. All right, remember, we want the weight to maintain over the midfoot, which is why what Anna had mentioned, the clock analogy, helps to maintain that torso so that the bar maintain the balance of the bar so that it goes straight down and up.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
As of now, we cannot see the bar path, but we kind of guess that it's a little bit drifting forward as you go down because of your hyperextended position. So in a few weeks' time, when you send us videos once again, we'll get to see how much you have improved from there. All right. So anything else to add from Adam or JJ?
So just one thing on the forward lean at the start. If you film from the side, you should see that when you hit the hole, say this is your thigh and this is your back, right? So if you hit the hole about this position, right? So ideally, when you start, you want to be in this position as well.
Yeah.
So you start how you finish.
Okay.
So you kind of and that might be something you can try as well, rather than thinking, I want to be really really upright and squat like you're straight up, like I just want to be really upright, which is not the goal of the exercise, at least in a
yeah. We kept emphasizing this because if you think about upright in a squat, that will cause your chest to be always in an elevated position. So we want it to be slightly tucked down. Okay, so we are about to wrap this up, but before that, I would like you, Ella, to say a few things about what you have learned from this technical analysis.
Okay, yeah, sure. How important setup is, like I said earlier, I definitely wasn't really paying attention to how I was setting up or like how important it was, and like I just really understanding how much alignment goes into making me feel stable at the bottom of the squat.
Yep, and pretty much you pick the right details of what we are trying to bring across here, which is the setup, and also creating that stability by understanding how you should position your upper body so that your core can be more tense, which will facilitate the whole movement and the performance of the squat.
Right.
Okay, so we are at the end of this technical analysis, and I really hope that all three of us have provided some inputs for you to kickstart on improving your squat technique. We'll also be emailing you the technical report, which is what you are seeing right now. We'll add up a little bit more things under the feedback form video analysis so that you can give it a try.
Do you have any questions for us?
Do you have any?
I guess the whole time I've been trying to work on my squat, I was basically always focusing on just my lower half, so my lower body from waist down, and that's where I was kind of making the adjustments, and I basically I don't want to say neglected, but I didn't really go into, how my upper body was or my middle section. So is that kind of like that's probably how I should go from now on, right? It's kind of like associate like cutting it in between three and kind of looking at the three different parts and like narrowing it down. That's probably the best way that you'd
Always try to work your squat movement from middle to down and then from middle to up, because
Oh, okay.
that's where the most important thing lies. You do not want to start from the bottom, because it is very easy to find ankle mobility, very easy to see how much restriction you have on your knee and hip hinge.
Right.
But if your core doesn't have the ability, yes, sorry, Adam.
I was just saying, bracing's the foundation of the technique.
Yes, correct. Especially
Right.
for squats. Yeah. So for bench and deadlift itself is a little bit different. We always want to we look at it a little bit more differently. Especially for bench, we look at the upper side first, then to the middle, then to the bottom. But for squat, in future, for your references, always look into middle section to lower, and then middle section to upper.
Right.
Because
Okay.
that's where the force is going through. So think about it like if you think about like a like you know, one of those, you go to a gas station and then you have one of those man that they blow up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So like if you think about that, like if the guy isn't stable in the middle part, then everything else kind of like falls apart, right? He
Right.
still needs to be relatively stable in the middle before the arms can blow up and the low body can sort of like hold its structure as well. So we always
Kinda
look
like-
from in. And the bar is also on your back, so like you need to move the bar away from the floor, but it doesn't it's not helpful if when you're pressing, your body is just absorbing all the force like a spring. So
Right.
we want to make you into a solid like a Coke can, and then when you're punching up, it's just like you're just really stiff and just transferring all the force into the bar.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say about the soda can analogy. Like if you see my soda can, right?
Oh,
It's nice and solid. If I press down as hard as I can, that's not going to bend, right? But if I flick the kink in the middle and I push down, that's going to fold.
Yeah.
Or if I put a kink in the back, that's going to fold. So you want to think of your core as like a can. Everything's neutral. Your cage is neutral, and your pelvis.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it's much harder to squish.
Yeah. Remember the feeling of getting your torso and the midsection neutral, right? You're not trying to look at the extreme side of things. For example, you're not trying to feel that your back is super tight, or you're not trying to feel that your core is super braced. You want to get the whole trunk section to be neutral. So the feeling you want to get, right, it's how should I put it? It's more try to position yourself first, and then after that establish and understand the feeling of it. Because I have a lot of clients who think that yes, core bracing is very important, so they go into extreme of bracing so hard that your upper back starts to cave in like that.
Right.
And there are also spectrum of people which is similar to your case, where they want their back to be super tight because they want to protect the bar from slipping, and then hyperextension occurs. Okay, so basically, yeah, that's the bottom line of it, and that's the essence of it. What we actually picked out is your setup and also your understanding of bracing the core under the bar.
Right.
So what's gonna happen is we're gonna send you this report, and in about 6 weeks' time, we will check back and send you an email. So be sure to have some videos ready so that you can send it to us, or you can send it to us along the way so that we can try and reply to you and see what else we can improve for you.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, now Ella, I hope that this whole technical analysis is very helpful to you, and let's stay in touch, and I'll see you next time. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
No problem.
Ella.
All right.
Yeah, bye.
care.
Bye bye.
Hi guys, it's me again, Clinton. Alright, if you have reached this part of the video towards the end, I would really want to thank you guys, because you guys actually sit through to all the way to the end of the video. And I would really appreciate it if you guys would help to like and subscribe, and also to share this video onto with your friends and anybody which wants to improve their movement in their squats especially. Okay, as of now, we're gonna provide more giveaways, and it will be done in this manner, in a more virtual coaching kind of way. I mean, this is the best we can do right now, right? And I hope that everyone can get to learn even more, and will be able to be more motivated to train when they are finally be able to hit the gym again. All right, so see you next time. The next giveaway will be for bench, so stay tuned into our Instagram and follow our page. See you guys.